We are back with another video. So these are the two pocket bikes. I got the second motor in and the controller, all the stuff for it. So over here, so I am getting this bike set up right now, but before I did that, I wanted to build the extended swing arms for the Cagliari. So that's where the axle is currently. The axle is used to be actually where that bolt is. So where that bolt is right there, that's where the axle used to be. So it's pushed back about 5-6 inches, maybe 5.5-6 inches, and it can go further back. So that's what I have spent today and yesterday building. And the way that I built them is I got two pieces of tubing, welded those together, and then welded a thick metal plate on the back, and then drilled a hole in that was 12 millimeters, the size of the axle, and then cut it out straight down with a angle grinder. And so that basically mimicked the this part right here. You can see it better right there. It mimicked that part where the axle will bolt in. And then I was just gonna put little metal tabs up here, and then I was gonna drill a hole in here and bolt, put another bolt through the frame right there. But I wanted to make this fully removable, and I didn't want to cut, drill, or do anything to the original frame. So I ended up getting these very long, very thick pieces of metal and welded those onto the pipes to strengthen it, and then drilled a 3/8 inch hole to stick the bolt through, and then made my own bolt. And then I made a cross brace out of angle bracket. It doesn't have anything to capture the bottom yet. I'm gonna put like pipe clamps on the bottom of here, because it still has the bracket for the brake over there, which means you can't just slide this out. Plus these are angled inwards, and so they can't slide out either because it wouldn't clear the frame. So you have to lift this part up to take it off, which means I can't weld anything underneath here to capture that, otherwise it wouldn't be removable. So that's what I'm gonna probably get pipe cleaners, or pipe hangers, like the little hooks that will have a bolt down through here that you can tighten and clamp on. Pipe clamps, that's probably what they're called. So I'm gonna get 2 of those, have a little section that comes off of here, and then it'll come down and the pipe will clamp onto that side, and then the same on that side to retain this piece so it can't come up. But with the pivot point there, when you sit down on it, it wants to push the wheel up, which wants to push these down. So all it really needs while riding it is that cross brace there to prevent the arms from folding downwards. So I tested it briefly after I got it built today, just a little while ago. And it is so much more stable. It's actually rideable now, whereas this guy is going to be very unrideable, especially if the riding position's back here, which is where it might be. I'm gonna cut this beam out here, cut that beam out there, cut that out there, and then possibly weld a plate in there, and then see if I can fit the battery between this frame. That frame is substantially wider than that frame, and the battery barely fit in there. It was kind of rubbing the frame, and there was no way I could get padding or anything on it. But this looks like a lot wider. So if I could cut this post out and then put the battery from here to here in that section, it won't sit down in the frame. It'll still be taller than the frame, but I don't think it'll be taller than the battery sitting on that. So that one will be a little more stealthy. The battery will be hidden in the frame. It'll look a lot better. It'll be easier for me to build fairings and stuff. Fairings and stuff around it without having a big, like this big chunky battery box. It's going to be difficult to build fairings around. It's basically going to be the centerpiece, and the battery comes up. Battery comes up higher when it's in there. It's like that much higher. So very big and bulky with that build. This build is hopefully going to be a little more sleek. It is a bigger frame than the Cagliari. It's, I think, like 2 or 3 inches. The handlebars sit about 2 or 3 inches higher than they do on the Cagliari. So that makes it easier to sit on for larger people, anyone that's basically not a child. So that's good. But I think that I am basically going to end up doing the same extended swing arms on this bike that I did on this one. I'm not entirely certain yet. I'm gonna let some people try. I'm gonna build this one as is, with its short wheelbase, and so that way I'll have both of them, and then people can try and see what, you know, an instant wheelie machine versus something that's actually kind of stable feels like. So the plan for this guy, like I said, remove these, try and fit the battery in there. This one isn't going, the motor isn't going to get mounted like this one. This one's using the 4 side mounts, and then I just welded pieces onto the frame to hold it. This one is going to use the bottom mount because it puts the pinion in line with the swing arm. So I was going to have it a lot higher, but I'm thinking if I do extend this swing arm out, I'm not going to extend it straight like that one. That one's basically just straight all the way back. This one I'm not going to do that because this frame, or this comes at an angle from the frame and goes down. So if I extended it 5 or 6 inches, then it would lift the bike up a lot higher, and it would lift the rear end a lot higher than the front end. So I think that I'm just going to come off of this flat and then just have a piece that ties in there, and then that comes off flat. So the axle will still get moved back 5 or 6 inches. It just won't be at that angle, which would raise the ride height tremendously. So I got the mounting plate for this made. I'm going to weld. There used to be 2 pipes that were welded on here that came down. I cut those off so that way I could scoot the motor all the way back as far as I could. And I'm gonna use one of those pipes to go across the frame for the motor mount to sit on. So it's the front of the motor mount is sitting on this peg mount, which is just solid axle basically that's welded across. And then there's tubes that come out on either side, but there's nothing to connect it. And so this would just fall through the frame if I didn't have that pipe in there. So I'm gonna weld that pipe in there so it's permanent, and then I'm going to weld that plate on there. And as you can see, the chain is pretty perfectly lined up. So that's pretty much the most important part with doing these conversions, is mounting the motor and making sure the motor is perfectly in line, not tweaked or cantered or anything like that. because then you're gonna skip the chain, you know, throw the chain. You'll have a lot of chain problems. So if you can get that perfectly mounted and centered with the chain, then you won't have any chain problems. That one so far has been perfect, no chain issues whatsoever, and I feel, you know, it's pretty close to perfectly mounted. Even with the extended swing arms that I just built, you can see that it's still a straight line right there for the most part. So if you can get that part correct, then you're pretty much home free. So going to continue on this guy, get that mounted, motor mounted, and then get the controller mounted up on an angle. But I'm going to remove this plate, the old motor mount plate, that guy. I'm going to remove that just because the angle that I want would put it like halfway on the plate. So I'm just going to cut the plate off. I'll leave these bars that run under and use that to mount my mount the speed controller. So once I get the motor mounted, then I can do the speed controller. Those are pretty quick. I'm going to do it in the same style as this guy, so it'll just have basically tabs with bolts that go through to hold the four corners, top and bottom. So do that on this guy, and then once that's done, all the electronics can be set up. And then the last thing to do at that point would be to fit the battery and get that all sorted and working. So that's it. I'll probably do another update on this guy once I've got further along to kind of show the progress, since I didn't really show any progress on this build. I didn't show any of the conversion or any of the build of the swing arms, just because there's just a lot of thinking in my head to figure out how to design it and how I want it to work, and it's trial and error. And so I just kind of have the finished product, and I'm like, this is what the finished product looks like. But for this one, I have a better idea of what I want to do, and so I might I'm going to try and film more of this explaining how to convert one of these tiny pocket bikes. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys later.